Morning.
All right. So I'm the one that's been shouting at you all morning. So she's already introduced me, but I will tell you that a little bit about the entrepreneurial side of my background. I am a financial expert. I've had a lot of experience as a professional accountant, but I will tell you that the majority of my experience with Quickbooks, which is the software we're going to work on today, came as an entrepreneur using the system to manage my own business. So you would think that a CPA would have all this expertise around the system, but surprisingly, most of what I learned by just doing it as a business owner. So you guys are all in the best place. The key here is we're not here to so much to give you the technical aspects of Quickbooks. You will get that. The focus really is that you get the practical aspects of Quickbooks. Same thing is if you wanted to learn how to use a drill, and you got a presentation or training from the manufacturer that engineered the drill versus the contractor that uses the drill on a day-to-day basis. So, our goal is to show you about 20% of the system's functionality that produces about 80% of the results on a day-to-day basis. Is that fair for everyone?
Yes.
Awesome. So, one of the things also, we've already introduced the team. We'll talk a little bit about some of the ground rules and so forth to make this smooth. You can see this room is packed. It's unusual for us to have a hands-on where people are actually able to put their own information into the system, but we're going to have fun today and make this work out for everyone. We're required to give you some disclaimers. We're not here to teach you or give you tax or legal advice. We're not also here to make anyone an accountant. So really the intention today is to make sure that you walk away knowing how to use your system as a business owner. So if we talk about what are some of the things that we want to accomplish, what are the intentions, what are the things we want to accomplish today, we want to start by saying that our intention is that each and every one of you walk away having received some value that you can put into place immediately. Ideally, if you brought your computer and you are working on your existing files and your existing data, you'll walk out of here actually being able to generate reports out of your own system. So that's our goal, that's our intention. Many of you came in here a little looking like this guy up here, a little confused, right? That's okay, that's fine. The goal though is that by the time you're done, you can sleep peacefully. Most of our clients say that what we do more than anything is give them peace of mind. So today, how it's going to go. We're going to talk a little bit about the architecture, the systems of how QuickBooks works and integrates in your overall business and how it relates to some of the other software tools and so forth that you might be using. We'll touch on that briefly because the architecture is like the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. It's the foundation, it's the structure where all the data is held. So if your structure is bad, your data will fall apart. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into a lot of the demonstrations. The demonstrations probably won't happen until about 9:30. So if you're sitting there ready to get into your computer, hang tight with us for a little bit. We promise you'll be in it for the majority of the day, just not for the very beginning. So you can close your screens or make yourself comfortable, and then when we get into the demo, you'll actually be working inside of your QuickBooks. We'll be doing some basic things like entering bills, invoices, bank downloads, bank entries, reconciliations, and so forth. So if you are someone who has been using the system for a while, some of those things might be old hat. We encourage you to learn something new today. Actually, we're putting the responsibility in your seat to make sure that you get what you need. So if you need to grab one of us, we've got CPAs in the room, which means that if you grabbed any of us off the street, the market rate for us is over $100 an hour. Use us. We're here. So grab us, get your individual personal questions answered during the breaks so that you can walk out of here having gotten more than you knew when you walked in the door. Is that fair? Can you guys take responsibility for that? Awesome. We'll do our very best from the front of the room. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Then we'll get into some of the reporting. Again, we'll always tie this back to its use, its practical use in your business, and then we'll talk a little bit about best practices and summarize the day. Okay, so why QuickBooks? Anybody here been using Excel or some other version for a while, other than an accounting software solution? Yeah, challenging, isn't it? Challenging to run your business and get information. So why would somebody use a system like QuickBooks or any kind of accounting software? Make it easier, absolutely.
I was going to say maybe it's easier and more user-friendly.
User-friendly, easier, 100%, yeah.
It integrates everything, your invoicing, billing.
Integrates everything. reason to have a system like this is not for the data and all the things we're going to learn to get the information in there. The reason for having QuickBooks is for what you are going to use the data for in your business. It's the information, the reports that it generates, so that when you look at that data, you're then in position and in power and control over your personal, your business future. Isn't that true? It's really about how you use the data. So let's talk a little bit about some of the systems. So the most common system, and the one we're going to focus on today, is where we're going to take your paper files, like the bank statements. Some of you may have brought some of those. We're going to take, some of you may be downloading directly from your bank into QuickBooks. We'll show you that as well. And some of you do electronic versions of your data, your statements and so forth. But we're going to take that data and we're going to input it into QuickBooks, either manually or automatically. And then from there, within this system, it's designed so that you can click a button and export your data into Excel reports and various functions, so that you don't have to take it and then turn around and open an Excel spreadsheet and type all the data in again. So you want to literally, with a click of a button, be able to go from step 1 into QuickBooks and from QuickBooks into the next system. So those of you who have invoicing needs in your business, there's invoicing functionality built into QuickBooks so that you're not having to open up a Word document and type out an invoice. And these are some of the things that we see with a lot of our clients is they have QuickBooks, they use it for 1 or 2 things, but they don't use it for everything it's designed to do. So if your system is working well, it flows from the source into the system with the click of a button out to the various business areas. If you're a little bit more sophisticated or advanced in your needs or use in your business, then you may have sophisticated billing systems. You may have shopping carts online, or merchant accounts online, where the main data is stored there, and you have to integrate that data into QuickBooks, so you're not having to manually recreate everything. And then from there, you may have more sophisticated needs, like you want to generate 1099s. Our 1099s went out for the year within 5 days of year end. How many of you would like to do that with a click of a button? Right? So we closed our year, we got our 1099s out the door, we want to run payroll taxes or things like that, more sophisticated things. It's already built and equipped and ready to do all that. We're not going to cover that's a little bit more advanced. Ask the Axiom people, maybe they bring us back for an advanced course. So really, you all mentioned this already. We want to eliminate manual processing, avoid duplication of work and reporting, and get the right systems in the door. Okay, so there's some things in the system that are important, and the first one is mapping. So there's 2 ways that you can map, and the mapping is really to integrate the 2 systems, so that if you do click a button, the system knows where to categorize your data. So the mapping says, if the data goes in this field in this system, it will automatically populate into this field in that system. So the mapping has to be defined in advance. So if you're doing something like 1099s, QuickBooks has the mapping built in, so you can actually designate within the QuickBooks system where certain things need to go in order to generate 1099s. In some other systems, like an online shopping cart, the mapping is built into the other system, not into QuickBooks. And then you get a file that then gets imported into QuickBooks. So the mapping can exist either within QuickBooks or in another system, but generally speaking, if the two systems are compatible, somebody has to tell the system how to integrate the data so that you can click a button and the data goes where it belongs. When you're dealing with any kind of systems or architecture, it's like building a house. Before you can pour the foundation and start building the architecture, you need to make sure that you have a stable foundation. So there's always more time and money invested up front to make sure that you have the right architecture. The beauty of this, though, is once you've done this, and you'll see this, once you've done this, then you've got efficiencies that happen every day. So maybe it takes you 10 minutes to do something, it takes you an hour, but it takes you 10 minutes every day from that time forward. So you're investing the time up front to save time in the long run and a lot more money in the long run. It's exponential. You really want to leverage the system you have so that you're not busy managing your system is helping you. See, if you're the one helping your system, then we've got the role reverse. Technology is really supposed to support us in our business. We're not supposed to be there to support our technology. And really, the key here is use an expert for the mapping, because if you get that right from the beginning, you're pretty much set for the rest of the time. Getting the data in is the easiest part. The architecture is the hardest. Garbage in. garbage out. So, as many of you have already experienced here today, as QuickBooks upgrades their systems, things become less functional on your hardware. So many of you came in for the free 2006 software and were unable to install it. Well, that's partially because you need the right operating systems and so forth, but this is something that's important for all of you who have QuickBooks. Every 3 years, when they upgrade to a new edition, they no longer support many of the functions that you are accustomed to using. So let's say you have a 2008 version that you're using today in this room, and you are doing bank downloads, for example. You will no longer be able to do bank downloads after March 31st. It will not support online systems or support of any kind after 3 years. So please always be mindful of that. If you are doing all manual entry and you never call in for anything, then you can use the system for as long as you want. But as soon as you need any of those types of functionalities, you will need to upgrade to a higher